HorseGym with boots number 19. Free shaping. Free shaping is when we set up something new we'd like the horse to become confident with, and we set it up in an enclosed safe space, put it out, and just let the horse take his time to go over and investigate. They might approach it boldly, or they might be very cautious, depending on their background and their nature and what it is that you're asking them to become confident with. We can click and treat any approach to the obstacle or object, even if it's just moving toward it. And we can click and treat for sniffing it. We can click and treat for targeting it with the feet. Every horse will be a little bit different, and the same horse will be different depending on what it is that you're using. Once the horse happily goes with a gesture, a forward gesture, to target whatever it is you're using, you've pretty much achieved it. Once the horse has the concept, we can generalize to different mats, different places, and different kinds of objects. The process stays the same no matter what it is that we're using. Now we'll look at free shaping some other sorts of objects. Here Smokey's been given the opportunity to go and do something with that ball. I have no idea what he's going to do, so he eventually says, okay, I'll wander over there, and because he's that sort of a horse, he gives it a good old push with his nose, at which point I wander over and give him a click and treat, because I wanted him to do something with that object. Now we've put out a flag, and I really just want him to be confident putting his nose on the flag, which he's done very nicely there, so we've earned a triple treat. So the first treat, the second treat, the third treat. Now sometimes the object is too spooky, so if that yellow umbrella moving around in the wind in the distance is something that the horse is not going to go anywhere near, we can use some successive approximations using something else the horse is confident with. In this case, we're going to use Boots' feed bucket. We've taken the lead rope off, and we've got her used to the idea that she's going to get her treat inside the feed bucket. Now we're going to build confidence bit by bit. So depending on your horse, you could move several steps ahead like Bridget's doing here, or you might just move it a couple of inches forward, depending on how worried it is about that strange object in the distance. So what Bridget has done is put the bucket down and tossed in a bit of carrot. Then she's going to go a little bit closer, and as she put it down, she tossed in another bit of carrot, and she just relaxes. We could either stand back and give the horse more space, but if the horse gains its confidence from having you nearby, then you could just stay alongside it, much like Bridget is doing here now. And she's going a little bit closer. You can see the umbrella twirling in the wind there. Your horse might reach a threshold where the confidence suddenly disappears because the object that you're going toward is becoming too overwhelming, in which case you would stay at that distance and play around at that distance, maybe at different angles at that distance, until it could move another inch forward. And whether that happens in one session or takes a week of sessions would depend on the horse and the nature of the object. If it's a horse trailer, the horse won't go near. It could take a little bit longer if they've had a bad experience with that particular object. But the theory is the same. Just work your way toward it. And eventually, you can see Bridget setting it up there so that Boots puts her nose on the umbrella, gets a massive click and treat, and probably a triple treat would be a good idea at that point.